The question we never ask. We use it every single day. We think about it. We worry about it. We work for it. But have you ever stopped, held a dollar bill in your hand, looked at the numbers in your banking app, and asked yourself, what is this really? It's a question that sounds so simple, yet most people go their entire lives without truly considering. We accept money as a fact of life, like gravity, like the sky being blue. We get so caught up in the chase, getting more of it, spending it, saving it, that we forget to understand its fundamental nature. Understanding what money truly is, right down to its core, is the absolute first step toward mastering it. It's the key that unlocks everything else. Think about it for a second. That piece of paper, that coin, those digital digits on a screen, are in themselves worthless. You can't eat them, they won't build you a shelter. So why do we dedicate so much of our time and energy to acquiring them? The answer is because we as a society have all agreed that they have value. Money is a shared belief system. It's a promise. It's a story we all tell ourselves and each other. A story that allows a software engineer in California to trade her hours of coding for a cup of coffee grown by a farmer thousands of miles away. It's the most powerful and universal story ever told. This concept might seem abstract, but it's incredibly practical. When you see money not just as an object to be collected, but as a system of trust and agreement, your perspective shifts entirely. You start to see it less as a source of stress and more as a tool, a powerful instrument waiting for a skilled operator. It's like the difference between someone who just mashes keys on a piano and a composer who understands music theory. Both touch the same instrument, but only one creates a masterpiece. Long before we had wallets and credit cards, the world ran on a simple system: barter. If you were a good farmer and had a surplus of wheat, but you needed a new pair of shoes, you had to find a shoemaker who just so happened to be hungry for bread. This system worked, but it was incredibly inefficient. What if the shoemaker didn't want wheat? What if he wanted wool instead? This problem, known as the double coincidence of wants, made trade complicated and limited economic growth. People needed something better, a common medium that everyone would accept as valuable. This need gave rise to the first forms of money. And it wasn't gold or silver, not at first. Seashells, salt cattle, large stones, decorative beads. These items worked because they were generally desirable, somewhat scarce, and durable. If everyone in your village agreed that a certain type of seashell could be traded for goods, then that seashell became money. It was a physical representation of value, a major technological leap that made it easier for people to trade the fruits of their labor, specialize in their skills, and build more complex societies. Eventually, humanity discovered that metals like gold and silver were even better. They were more durable than seashells, easier to carry than cattle, and could be divided into smaller units without losing their value. This led to the creation of coins, stamped with the mark of a king or an empire to guarantee their weight and purity. For thousands of years, this was the standard. Then came another revolution: paper money. It started as a simple IOU, a receipt from a goldsmith promising you could redeem that piece of paper for a certain amount of actual gold. People quickly realized it was much easier to trade the paper than to carry around heavy sacks of metal. And that brings us to today, the digital age. Most of the money in the world isn't physical at all. It exists only as electronic data, ones and zeros zipping between bank servers across the globe. When your paycheck is direct deposited or you tap your card to buy groceries. Now, we're even seeing the rise of cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, which are completely decentralized and aren't controlled by any bank or government. From bartering a bag of grain to sending digital currency across the planet in an instant, the form of money has changed dramatically. But its function, its core purpose as a tool for exchange, has remained exactly the same. So, we know money evolved from a need to trade more efficiently. But what does it actually represent in our modern lives, day in and day out? At its heart, money is a universal language for communicating value. When you go to a coffee shop and pay $5 for a latte, you are not just trading pieces of paper for a drink. You are participating in a complex conversation about value. That $5 represents a tiny fraction of the value you created at your job. In exchange, you receive something that has its own value. The coffee beans, the farmer's labor, the shipping, the barista's skill, the rent for the shop, and the cup it's served in. This entire transaction is built on a foundation of trust. You trust that the $5 bill in your hand will be accepted by the coffee shop. The shop owner trusts that they can then use that same $5 to pay their employees and suppliers. The employees trust that they can use their wages to pay their rent. It's a massive interconnected web of belief. Without that shared trust, the entire system would collapse. Let's be brutally honest for a moment. Money matters. It matters a lot. While it can't buy you happiness directly, it absolutely can buy you the things that create the space for happiness to grow. The most important thing money can buy is freedom. This isn't the freedom to buy a private jet or a yacht, though it can be that too. We're talking about a much more profound and accessible kind of freedom. It's the freedom of choice, the freedom from worry, the freedom to design your own life instead of having it dictated to you by financial necessity. It is the ability to say no to things you don't want to do, and yes to the things you do. Consider the freedom of choice: emergency fund, no high-interest debt, investments working for you. Your options expand dramatically. You have the freedom to leave a job with a toxic boss without panicking about how you'll pay your bills next month. You have the freedom to take a lower-paying job you're truly passionate about. You have the freedom to move to a new city for a better opportunity. You have the freedom to start your own business. You have the freedom to take a year off to travel the world. Alright, so we've established what money is and why it's a crucial neutral tool. Now let's get into the how. How do you actually build a solid financial structure? It's not as complicated as it sounds. It really comes down to mastering 4 fundamental activities, which I call the 4 pillars of financial architecture. Earning, saving, spending, investing. Every single dollar that ever passes through your life will be involved in one of these 4 pillars. Your goal is to become conscious and intentional about how you manage each one, because they all work together to determine your financial outcome. The first pillar is earning. This is the most obvious one. It's your income, the money flowing into your life. This typically starts with a primary job, but it shouldn't end there. Acquiring new skills to get a promotion, negotiating a higher salary, developing side hustles that bring in extra cash flow. Your income is your most powerful wealth-building tool, especially when you are young. The more you earn, the more fuel you have for the other 3 pillars. Don't just passively accept your paycheck, actively work to grow it. Now that we understand the 4 pillars, you might be asking, okay, but how much should I be saving? How much is okay to spend? This is where a simple but incredibly powerful budgeting guideline comes in, the 50-30-20 rule. Think of this as your personal financial GPS. It gives you clear, simple directions for where your money should go each month. The rule suggests you allocate your after-tax income as follows. 50% for needs. These are your essential, must-have expenses that you need to live. Rent or mortgage payment. Essential groceries, not gourmet dinners out. Utility bills like electricity and water, transportation costs to get to work. Minimum debt payments. These are the bills you have to pay every month no matter what. The goal is to keep these core survival costs at or below 50% of your take-home pay. Next up is the 30% for wants. This is the fun category. Hobbies, entertainment, movies or concerts, dining out at restaurants, vacations, streaming subscriptions, that new gadget you've been eyeing. This category is all about your lifestyle choices. The 30% guideline gives you permission to enjoy the money you earn. It prevents the kind of restrictive, joyless budgeting that most people quit after a few weeks. Finally, and most critically, is the 20% for savings and investments. This is the portion of your income dedicated to building your future. This is where you pay yourself first. This 20% should be automatically routed from your paycheck into different accounts before you even have a chance to spend it. Part of it should go toward building a robust emergency fund, 3 to 6 months of essential living expenses, long-term investments, a retirement account like a 401k, a Roth IRA, or a brokerage account. This 20% is your ticket to financial freedom. It's the money that will grow and compound over time, eventually generating enough income to support you without you having to work. Earning a good income is great. Following a budget is even better, 50, 30, 20. But the real secret to building transformational wealth is compound interest. Einstein called it the 8th wonder of the world. Compound interest is earning returns on your original investment and on accumulated interest. It's interest on your interest. A snowball effect. Example, invest $1,000 at 10%. Year 1. Year 1 result, $1,100. Year 2, 10% on $1,100, $110, $1,210. Year 3, 10% on $1,210, and so on. In the beginning, growth seems slow and almost unnoticeable. That extra $10 in the second year doesn't feel like much. But as the years go by, the snowball gets bigger and starts rolling faster and faster. After 30 or 40 years, the growth becomes explosive. So how do you put this incredible force to work for you? Invest in the stock market, low-cost index funds, ETFs. These funds hold tiny pieces of hundreds or even thousands of the biggest companies. Diversification. You're betting on long-term economic growth, not one company. Invest 20% of your savings every single month. Market up or down, keep investing. This is dollar cost averaging. That harnesses compound growth for the long haul. But investing isn't the only way to make your money grow. Remember the earning pillar? Create additional income streams through side hustles, freelance writing, graphic design, social media management, driving for a rideshare service, selling crafts online, renting out a spare room. Funnel 100% of that extra income directly into your investments. This drastically increases the size of your snowball and shortens the time it takes to reach your financial goals. It's like pouring gasoline on the fire of compound interest. We've covered a lot of ground. We've deconstructed the very idea of money. We journeyed through its history. We laid out a practical blueprint for managing it. Money is not an evil to avoid, it's a tool of freedom. The 4 pillars: earning, spending, saving, investing. A simple GPS, the 50-30-20 rule. The magic of compound interest. Putting your money to work for you. All this knowledge is worthless if it stays as knowledge. The final, most important step is action. This journey is not a sprint, it's a marathon. It's not about getting rich quick, it's not about timing the market perfectly, it's about building simple, consistent habits. Thousands of small, smart decisions that compound. Pay yourself first, invest that 20%, resist the temptation to spend it, track your spending, grow your income. Every single day you make choices that move you closer or further from your future. Money is a tool, a resource. It doesn't define your worth. Mastering it gives you the power to shape your reality. Build a life based on your values and dreams, not one constrained by financial limits. Be more generous, take calculated risks. Provide a stable, secure foundation for those you love. Mastering money is one of the most important skills you'll learn. It's the skill of designing your life. Here's your call to action. Right now, not tomorrow, not next week. Today, open a high-yield savings account and set up automatic transfers for an emergency fund. Log into your 401k and get the full employer match. It's free money. Download a budgeting app and track your spending for 1 week. Take one small, concrete step. Your future self is counting on the decisions you make today. Your future is a blank check waiting to be filled in. Pick up the pen and start writing. The best time to start was yesterday, the second best time is right now. Go do it.